Going to give you another nugget of goodness right here. Having got into a little pattern of doing sets of 3 videos, let's see what happens. I haven't planned it out, but I was talking about the issue of people criticizing what other people are wearing and acting like that's really important in a previous video recently. And I wanted to pose the question of what's the most important clothing that we wear in our life and play around with this concept. So I can see that being interested in clothing and enjoying it for the artistic and for the sense of fun, for a sense of a hobby, that's a harmless thing, that people can enjoy that and get into that, and it's a harmless thing, it can be an enjoyable thing, and in that way it can be a healthy thing as a hobby. But if we start criticizing other people, then the virus of criticism has got involved in the mix there. And criticizing within the Science of the Mind framework and the training there, criticism is never a healthy thing. Same as complaining or blaming. Any sort of anger or any form, even the slightest form of hatred, is a part of that. One of those 3 primary diagnoses within the Science of the Mind is a part of hate. And with clothing, I can see that it's good and it's a helpful thing. And I wanted to explore what's the most important clothing here, and to ask you to maybe check out how you're dressing your face here each day. Interesting thing, my child was telling me the other day that the average woman spends 1 year of their life, I think they were saying, 1 year of their life, if all the cumulative time spent on looking and thinking about clothing and getting dressed was collated together, that it would amount to 1 year of the average woman's life. That's a lot of time that people are spending thinking about that, and that's great if that's a hobby and you're enjoying yourself. But if it's a stress dynamic, if you're anxious, if you're scared about what other people think about what you're wearing, then here's a story about good old Albert Einstein. That I heard years ago that he actually had 6 or 7 copies of the same set of clothing, because someone asked him, why do you do that? And they saw in his wardrobe that there was so many copies of the same exact shirt and pants and things. And his answer was that he didn't want to think about what he was wearing. He wanted to save his time, his mental time and energy, to focus on other things. And he was a genius there, Albert Einstein. So the point I was getting towards was, if we're thinking about our clothing so much, how about we think about how we're dressing our face? Most importantly, that's the most important clothes, is what are we wearing on our face? And get that big smile up there and exercise those muscles and enjoy our lives. And someone at my public speaking club a few weeks ago was saying that the best thing to do at an interview, I don't know where they got this from either, is to smile. That's the most important thing. It gives a good impression. So it's one of the things I was talking about at my club last year when I was going there and training myself with a bit of public speaking, was I kept talking about smiling and encouraging people to smile at each other. The other day I was at the petrol station and there was another person there, and I just smiled at him a couple times, and I noticed that they didn't smile back and they seemed to feel a little bit awkward about it. Isn't that interesting that people, sometimes it seems to me that there can be such a lack of kindness and caring and friendship and friendliness out there, so people start to wonder and think, what's your agenda, what's your motivation just for being kind and friendly? But with the signs of the mind, we're really innocent here, so we're allowed to just smile and don't really worry about what other people think, hey? So whatever clothes we're wearing doesn't really matter in truth. Enjoy your clothing. If that's something that's a hobby and you're interested in, that's a good thing. But don't turn it into a stress dynamic. Most important clothes you're wearing, get it up there.